I don't know if anyone can relate to this piggy bank jar, but in Canada, for a while, we had peanut butter that used to come in a teddy bear piggy bank. And weirdly, this has become such an important symbol inside my Nutrition RX coaching practice to help my clients break their all or nothing thinking. So in today's episode, we're gonna dive into one of my most powerful mindset reframes when people are black, white, all, nothing, good, bad with their thinking. And the name of that metaphor is called the health spending account. So let's dive in. Thanks for coming back to watch another video, or if you're new to this channel, I'll take a quick second to introduce myself. My name's Jen, I'm a registered dietitian. I've been helping people eat better since 2010, and I have many hours sitting across the table from someone that is frustrated with themselves because they start off hot, they start off with all the right habits, and then things just start unraveling really quickly. And so I wanted to dive into the psychology of how their own kind of mindset and way that they're approaching behavior change might actually be hurting them in the long run. And then what you can do if this is relevant to yourself, or what you can do if maybe you're a nutrition coach to help someone break that really bad all or nothing behavior pattern. So it all starts with this little teddy bear piggy bank. And I use this as my analogy for something that I call the health spending account. So for a second, we're gonna put nutrition and wellness and fitness and all of that aside, and I'm gonna speak in a slightly different metaphor and talk about money for a moment. So I want you to think about your bank account. If long-term, the goal is to retire with no debt and some accumulated wealth so that you can live comfortably and cover your means and cost of daily living and have some fun income to do the things that you've always wanted to do, we have to start back in time with some good habits that set us up for financial success. So if we think about the idea of a bank account is a moment in time snapshot of what is your financial status. And when I say bank account, I mean all financial pools of money. So if you have investments or real estate, think of just your accumulated wealth, but I'm gonna use the simplistic term of bank account. So if we just log into our bank account every single day, multiple times a day, yes, that's a place for us to basically check our data and see where we are relative to our goals. But the actual act of checking your bank balance does not add wealth to your account. And that is such an important statement, I'm gonna say it again. Checking your bank account does not directly add any wealth. Your bank account is an outcome measure of your behaviors. So what does that mean? Well, we look at wealth building from sort of two different pools. We can do things that are accumulating wealth, accumulating financial compensation, or on the other side, we can look at where does financial and money flow away from our account, right? So let's go to the side where we are adding to our wealth. This would be things like maybe getting a higher paying job. Maybe it is taking a continuing education certification that allows you to go to your current employer and negotiate a salary or a pay raise. Maybe this is starting a side hustle on the side where, you knit really cute baby hats and sell them on Etsy, for example. So anywhere that we can find creative ways to bring in more revenue and cash flow is going to help our wealth accumulate. On the opposite side of the equation, there are things that are going to drain wealth from our bank account. So these might be things like unnecessary subscriptions. Maybe you signed up for something months ago, you meant to do more mobility at home, but you haven't logged into the online mobility app in months. Of course, there are necessary deductions, right? There's rent or mortgage and food and internet and cell phone bills and clothing and all the things that we need, obviously, to survive and go through our normal cost of, daily living. But there also are some discretionary exits of money from the bank account. You might have a really fancy date night with your significant other. You might want to go on a luxurious vacation. You might, mindlessly shop on Amazon and buy some stuff that you really didn't need, but you got influenced by ads online. And so as we look at the flux of money coming in and money exiting the bank account, at any given time, our bank balance will be a snapshot of how are we doing. Hey, we'll get back into things in just a moment, but I wanted to make you a special offer for hanging out with me today. One of the things that I love doing is helping people eat better and build a lifelong positive relationship with food. And so my favorite program to do that is called Powerful Progress. It can be done from anywhere in the world, but it's a 6-week-long coaching experience coached by me where I get to be your personal nutrition coach to help you eat more veggies, add more lean protein to your diet, really work on your sleep and your wind down routine, help you drink more water and maybe cut back on some things like alcohol and sugary beverages. We're also gonna have a focus on mindset and self-talk. That's probably my favorite week. And then also we're gonna wrap it up with some meal planning and making more healthy meal and snack choices from scratch. If that interests you, you can sign up right now by going to nutritionrx.ca/powerful-progress. And as a thank you, if you do end up joining today, I'm going to actually add a bonus set of material so I get to spend a little bit more time being your coach. Okay, back to where we left off. Let's come back to the world of food and nutrition and health. Similar to a bank balance, now I'm not trying to be weight centric, but we're going to use the scale specifically to sort of mirror the bank balance. You can hop on the scale and sort of take a look at how am I doing today? Now, this is obviously influenced by your genetics, your age, your lifestyle, your exercise training, how much muscle mass you have, how much stress is in your life, how well you've been sleeping, if you have other demands like family members or children or aging parents to care for, if you've been injured, medications. So my point is it's nuanced. But if we go back to the more simplistic idea of get on the scale and have a sense of just where are things at? Again, that's like logging into your bank account, being like, hey, where are things at? So I want to think about if we have this outcome to be at our genetic healthy weight, our genetic set point where our body functions beautifully, we are hopefully chronically disease-free, we have tons of energy, we're not injured, we're able to participate in movement that feels really good, really truly creating like a friendship and a relationship of self-care with our body. So when I'm talking about health, I'm not talking BMI, I'm not talking a diet culture, a societal ideal weight or number. We're talking about you finding a happy place within yourself. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I always try to not be overly weight focused when I talk about nutrition to you guys. But if we're looking for good long-term health, there are important behaviors we're gonna have to deposit into our body consistently to help that health grow over time. So what might some of those things be? Well, every time I add veggies to a meal, amazing, money goes into my health account. Dun, 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 dun. If I, get in joyful movement each day or most days of the week, sometimes I go to the gym, sometimes I lift weights, sometimes I go out for hikes, sometimes I like to go for runs, sometimes I use my indoor spin bike, sometimes I do yoga, sometimes I take rest days because my body needs that too. All of those are amazing investments in my physical body, my physical capacity. If I get up first thing in the morning and I, drink a glass of water, there's an awesome investment. If I do things like, minimally drink alcohol or avoid it altogether, perfect. That's helping my body as well. If I go to bed on time and I get a great night's sleep, that's another deposit. So all day long, we have these little forks in the road where we can make different decisions of, am I going to add money to my health account? Or on the opposite side, am I going to make a little deduction? So what might those deductions look like? Well, sometimes I don't get a great night's sleep. I stay up too late. I watch Netflix before bed. Not always, but sometimes it happens. There are times that, I have a food craving and I do want to maybe bake some homemade chocolate chip cookies or grab something from the grocery store. Maybe you do eat out and you have to grab a takeout meal because you're rushed or you're craving it or, circumstances didn't allow you to make a homemade healthy meal. Those are all normal parts of being a real human, right? Sometimes we might want to celebrate and have a few drinks too many. We might have a cold that takes us out for a couple weeks and we don't get our exercise in because we don't want to spread our germs to other people or we're just feeling too under the weather. So those are all different examples of deductions. Now, back to the mindset or the metaphor of the bank account. A couple of things we need to keep in mind. If we consistently add faster than we deduct Just like consistently, if you always live within your means in that you don't spend as much as your paycheck brings home, your wealth will accumulate. Your health will accumulate positive points. Similar to a bank account, sometimes we're gonna have to make a deduction. I don't want any Ebenezer Scrooge behavior where all we do is we get money and we never let a penny of that leave the bank account. So in a joyful relationship with food long term, there are going to be some food deductions. It might be the Friday night pizza. It might be a beer with your friend. It might be a missed workout. It might be a rough night's sleep for whatever reason. These deductions are normal. And in fact, factoring in that these deductions will happen will help you prepare or help your client prepare for these situations instead of being caught off guard. But here's a couple of things I always like to remind my own clients to think about. If I'm going to make a deduction, can I make it as small as possible? So let's think about money for a moment. If I had an unexpected car expense come up, maybe I had a, $250 repair. Okay, unexpected, kind of sucks, takes away from my monthly income, but just because I have to spend $250 to fix a small part of my car doesn't mean I'm gonna go, this month's a write-off. So you know what? That $5,000 I was saving towards a new vehicle, screw it. I'm not even gonna, use it for that purpose anymore. This stupid $250 expense has just wrecked my whole month and I might as well blow through the $5,000. Crazy, right? That is a really weird response to an unexpected expense. Yet, think about the line of thinking that people do when they have an off meal or snack or a weird choice that just doesn't align. You know what? I had donuts in the break room at lunch. Today's a write-off, so I might as well have the takeout for dinner and I'll get started on Monday. I'll start after vacation. I'll start when things settle down at work. There's always this delay of making the deposits. Could you imagine if we did that with our wealth? I made a mistake. Since I spent $50 on Amazon, I might as well drop $20,000 that I was saving for the down payment on my house, because what's the point of having those good saving habits? If I was bad here, might as well be bad everywhere, right? A really weird reaction. Yet it happens all the time when it comes to food. People get in their own heads, in their own way, and they make a mountain out of a molehill off of one little odd choice. So what do you do if you have an unexpected expense that's a little bit more into your monthly income? Well, you can look at both sides of the scale. You can look at, is there a way for me to add more income quickly to replace what just went out unexpectedly, right? Can I pick up a little side hustle? Do I sell more hats on my Etsy shop? Yeah, whatever, would bring in a little bit more money. Entrepreneurs maybe have a bit more flexibility here than people that have a stable job with a salary. Or we can go to the other side of the equation and go, all right, that cost me a bit more. Where is money coming out of the account? And can I slow some of the expenses that maybe don't need to come out right away? So maybe I'll delay that purchase. Maybe I'll be more mindful with the cost of groceries. Maybe we won't go out for dinner that costs a little bit more. We'll go to the less expensive place, or maybe we won't go out at all. And so we sort of flex things. And a great example is often in the month of January following December. So December, a holiday month for many of us, tends to be quite expensive. So even though expenses might be a bit more in the month of December, you might then cut back a little bit on your spending in January to flux and find the balance. So with food, we might have a weekend, at a cottage with some friends where maybe there is more food and alcohol that doesn't line up with your long-term goals. Okay, it's like expensive month of December. When you come back the following week, can you find that flux? Can you find that balance? And maybe you bring your food quality up to that 90% point to make up for like the 60, 70% you might have been at over the long weekend. So those are just some examples bringing finances and food back together. Long story short, the one thing I really get clients to focus on is that they are able to spot where their deposits are coming from. Often people think it has to be this big, grand, sweeping gesture of like bodybuilder, 4 hours in the kitchen, batch cooking. But in fact, it's all little things that add up. It might be 3 calming deep breaths when you're stuck in traffic and your road rage is keeping up, and it's your stress management response. It might be rolling out your yoga mat and just doing some stretches at night to loosen up your hips after sitting all day. It might be planning out your workouts so you can get 3, 4, maybe 5 workouts a week at the gym that you attend. Maybe it is actually making a veggie bucket and spending the 5 minutes a week to have your vegetables lined up front and center in your fridge. Maybe it's a bigger investment where you do batch cook for an hour or 2 hours on Sunday to set up a great week of healthy eating. So we can make a nickel investment, we can make a $1 investment, we might make a $5 investment, a $20 investment, a $1,000 investment. But as long as we just keep contributing faster than we're deducting or spending from our health account, long term, this is the best way I've seen people break the all or nothing, black, white, good, bad way of thinking when it comes to changing their behavior for the long run. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If that silly little metaphor of the health spending account and using a piggy bank to think about positive choices really resonated with you, that's probably why my favorite week inside of Powerful Progress is all about mindset and self-talk. There is so much negative diet culture out there, and as you've maybe picked up if you've watched any of my videos, I just want to help all of you have a lifelong, happy and healthy relationship with food. So I don't believe in this very finger waggy, you're bad, take this bad food away. Instead, I want you to embrace healthy living, have joyful, mindful food experiences. That might mean sometimes food that just tastes good for the sake of it tasting yummy. But if I can be of any support to you, probably my best and most helpful way I can continue to guide you on your own journey of wellness is through that 6-week Powerful Progress program. So I hope you'll consider signing up. I would be so honored to get to be your personal coach. And I'm registered dietitian Jen Broxterman. Thank you again for being here and sticking out today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.